A very good evening to everybody. Most respected Madam Supriya Sahu IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Government, Environment, Climate and Climate Change and Forest Department. Most respected Mr. Mangatram Sharma IAS, my colleague, Additional Chief Secretary to both Energy Department and PWD Department. Again, my own colleague and course mate, I think all Mangat, myself, Jayanti, we are all course mates. Jayanti Madam, Chairperson, Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, Dr. Anish Shekhar, Dr. Rahul Nath, Dr. Dinesh Arjun Nirmal, and again, our own Times of India, Manikandan Nair, who has always been, it is always lovely to attend your function. Perhaps fashion shows I also go and mix, and here he has trapped me into such a intellectual kind of gathering. So first I would request that you should get inspiration from our Energy Secretary. If by being sick he can give such a strong speech, all of you should be very energetic in this meeting and be very lively. That would be my first request, because all of us, we are officers, but we are all, most of the officers who are coming for this wonderful meeting, I can vouch that each one of us, each one of them is a wonderful human being, and Times of India has gathered this along with the stakeholders. I fully agree with this title, but by the end of this, I would expect that, the TNPCB, apart from powering, should come back to only regulating, and then instead of our presenting, we should start facilitate, we should become facilitators, and actual powering should be by the stakeholders. So I have full faith that you stakeholders are the people who have actually taken Tamil Nadu's vision to this far. And here I am really proud that, under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister, we have set our targets much higher than what Government of India and India has committed internationally. Whether it is renewable energy, 50%, all very tough targets to achieve. 70% reduction in carbon emissions by 2030, promotion of EV charging infrastructure. These are all targets. And second is, we should always look and congratulate those who have achieved it. You would have seen the AVs and all. And for the purpose of saving time, I am not repeating all the important policies which our respected Additional Chief Secretary Energy has done. I would say that, we started so early. Just like Danish support, we had this windmills. Then solar, though we started a bit late, again we leapfrog. Muppanendal, if you go towards south, one shot you can see such a scenic area with almost 1,500 megawatt of windmills. Again you go to Kamudi, it's almost 1,300 megawatt of solar, though we started in Shivaganga. So we have such wonderful corridors there, and this side Palladam and Coimbatore. So these are the corridors which have propelled Tamil Nadu to be second in wind installed capacity, fourth in solar installed capacity, fourth in total RE installed capacity. And many times, this, though I am fairly new to the sector, almost 1 year, the day one when I entered, I found that, ultimately power is not the installed capacity, but what is the capacity which we can, what is realizable capacity. So we have more than 40,000 megawatt of installed capacity, but realizable by the hour it changes. So its solar capacity is there during the daytime and wind during the seasons, but suddenly the wind goes up. October, November, December, we suddenly drop from 3,000 to 0 or 300 megawatt. Similarly, solar, suddenly there is a rain in Kamdi area, they'll say, sir, 2000 megawatt yarangidde. It is like a share market. When you go to TNEB's place, energy has become a market. Every 15 minutes is a slot which we have to say whether you give or you are going to take, and within the next 6 slots we need to sell. Last year, surprisingly, instead of, in addition to buying, we sold more than 700 crores in 4-5 months. So that is the angle in which when we look at, so can we just sit back on laurels and say that we are second, fourth, this? That is not the purpose of this meeting. When we talk of Green Horizon, I already mentioned that, Environment Secretary, all of them, they have set very, very high standards. Government at the level of Energy Department has that policy, and Honorable Chief Minister has been reiterating. This is where this meeting gains importance. all of us should understand that, you should understand our problem, we should understand your problem, and both of us should ultimately understand the grid problem. Grid is the heart and soul of energy. And that is where there is nothing like those of you who have seen Vikram Veda Padam. Zero kadayadu, onnum kadayadu. Karupum kadayadu, velupum kadayadu. You cannot take black or white. So you cannot go to the other extreme way where US now is saying zero. Nothing is required. Or go to the other extreme, say everything should be green. Somewhere down the line, we need to realize that we have to promote green in a very sustainable way and ensure that things are done. That is where I think, though now we have started, battery energy storage system is going to be a game changer. Pumped energy storage system is going to be. I just went and saw Kunda project. Lot of people keep telling that no, it was announced in 2006-7 like that and all. I wanted to tell Kulli was announced even in 90s. But when it is over, we are going to get 500 megawatt at 2 rupees. Similarly, once pumped storage comes, daytime you generate the surplus energy, store it in the batteries and use the surplus energy to pump it back. So these are somewhere, again Tamil Nadu has leapfrogged other states silently. Tamil Nadu, I think Times of India will agree that when you look at, unlike other states, Tamil Nadu never keeps on doing, it is very self-critical. Stakeholders are critical, we are critical among ourselves. We don't generally applaud ourselves and say that we are greatest. Whether it is IT sector, whether it is no other place, you will realize that this is a state with the highest growth rate in GDP, maximum delta growth rate, and contribution to the central GDP also, we are one of the top 3 or 4 states, but we don't tom-tom it. But behind that, what goes behind is stakeholders like you have invested. Lot of people tell me the other way around also, green energy is risky. You cannot handle it. Suddenly when it goes down, grid is affected. I always say that, when you look at the resource gap, by 2035, we may require 35,000 megawatt. We have all, I think my own colleagues who are here from 90s here all, and all of us, those who have, lived through those times, you will know the time of Mr. B. Vijayaraghavan, 80s, then early 90s, then again 2011. Always it is like, rabbit and a thing. So we have to steadily be a non-sleeping rabbit. We cannot be a tortoise also. We cannot be a sleeping rabbit also. We have to be a non-sleeping, fast-running rabbit. Otherwise, we will be overtaken. The demand is exploding like anything. Last year it is X, this year it is 7% more. So we cannot simply depend only on incremental growth with only traditional thing. So we have to ensure that we put in, that is why Tamil Nadu, despite all this, has announced a coal project. That is one side, it takes a long gestation, but parallelly we have to understand that always there will be a gap. That gap has to be filled by green energy, and to make it sustainable, we have to go for various other new innovations with viability gap funding and all. And third, which I request stakeholders is, we should understand that it is, see, we need to sensitize people. I really feel, for Ennore, for Tuticorin, for places like, Nilgiris, for places like Mettur, they produce, everybody consumes. 10-minute power pochanaga, people are angry. But think of people, those generating spots, that has to be transmitted. And how much difficulty we have to get this line cleared. So much of generation potential is there in the south, unless it goes to Coimbatore, from Coimbatore to North India, or from North India, I have to bring it back, like I have to bring it back from Karnataka side to this corridor. People, it's a linear project. 10 kilometers I don't complete in Tirupur, I am done. 4,000 investment of that will be of no use. Virudhunagar, we have installed, government of Tamil Nadu has installed 765 megawatt. But transmission line, now we sat with Chief Secretary, spoke to Collector, ultimately we have settled that balance. But we need to, you all need to understand what is it that at the PDCL level, the challenge is. The challenge is basically to ensure that these, once the moment this transmission line is through, again I can take 2,000 megawatt more. So when we say Aral or when you say Ottapidaram and all, so anybody wants to invest, why they want to invest? That is the area where you can generate. And unless I evacuate, that is why these green energy projects are there. So we need to sensitize people that please, you don't think that by sacrificing land for evacuating, your government is pinching you. You are socially responsible. Otherwise, if you with the other cities which are power generators, if they start protesting and saying that no, I will not allow you to take out power, they don't do. They are all kind people. So we need to do. And when we do that, we have to ensure that their environment doesn't get spoiled. So when we look at Ennore, we have to look at the PM, which again Tamil Nadu Pollution Control and Madam, they are looking at particulate matter. Because 2.5 micron and all, it can go up to the lungs. And you can fall sick when you look at Delhi, the challenges of Delhi. So we are all in an ecosystem where we have to look at the environment in a holistic way and not in a myopic way only from it. That is where green energy has so much of potential. And compare it Kerala. They have equally intelligent people, but they cannot even transport that big windmills. The roads, they're so congested, they cannot. Even if they have intent, they cannot do. But Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, they have potential. So we, Anish is here, we have to ensure that, and as Energy Secretary said, I can vouch for that there is no paper pending at government. If at all something is pending, it is that we have to fast track our intent and ensure that your challenges, whatever you face, let it be successive reports. We may have done with this repowering policy something, but if you feel something more can be done, we should all do. So that should be our attitude. I'm sure these wonderful panel discussions which we have will present us much more granular manner and analysis on how we can take this forward. So I personally wish that all of us should understand that green is the future, because when you look at the kind of, because I keep traveling, sometimes even Madam will go and tell Chief Secretary, means he will stop it, not stop my travel. But if you go to hilly areas and then come back to Delhi and you stay for a few minutes, you will get lung problem. Not a severe lung problem, but sick people. So we need to say that green or environmental issues are not something which are very romantic or utopian issues. It is something for us to really realize that from the energy sector, because that is going to be a bread and butter, we need to be as much green as possible and make that green as sustainable as possible, so that we can take advantage of that cheaper power, sustainable power, and future again is in hydrogen. Though hydrogen itself has to be powered to make it a hydrogen. Tuticorin is going to be one of the biggest hydrogen hubs. Okay, all the ship fuel also, if I am correct, Anish will know the specifics more than me. So there is so much of potential, and it is not just like our secretary was mentioning. Green means we only think wind and solar. It is also micro-hydel. I have seen Kollimalai today that even 20 megawatt, but that is very critical, because in 1 second you are able to get that power, whereas in thermal when we have to generate, it takes 2 to 3 hours. Morning I back up, to start up it takes time. Whereas this hydel gets the power within a second from here. They say that there is a dip in the grid, you need to supply, they come back online. So we have, and if somebody has time, of course, with Environment Secretary, I shouldn't risk too much of talk about Nilgiris. Nilgiris, the kind of coexistence of forest and of course our power plants are there. Of course, we need to be very, very careful that as we expand, we shouldn't, because ultimately environment will outlive all of us. So I always understand, but that produces more than 1000 megawatt of hydel power under a very closed environment and keeps on doing. So that it's under a cycle. 1930 or 40 Mayar was built. 32 Paikara was built. Paikara is a Paikara, one Paikara like Bahubali, one Bahubali, two Bahubali, ultimate Bahubali. Like that, there is one ultimate Paikara, ultimate Paikara, and ultimate now Kunda. It is getting over, and this side you have got Mayar. So much of beautiful things are there, but we need to submit ourselves to the regulations of environment. We need, because nature scores over everybody. Madam was telling about this. All of us have worked in tsunami. All of us have worked in environmental tragedies. We need to understand that if we challenge environment and if we don't do things in an environmental friendly manner, we will be digging our own grave. With these few words, I present a very, very positive picture that Tamil Nadu is at the cusp of going to the next stage, that is 2.0 Mari booster. We have already in second and fourth position, but if we tap it in a very intelligent way, and as stakeholders you come back to us, and even if the election period, a lot of people thinks model code of conduct, but on policies and deliveries we can keep working on announcing. So we all should work together to look at the horizon. That is what the title, what madam has ideally given, is a very good thing. We should not be looking inward, we should not looking backward, but we should be looking at horizon with a utopian vision, with a belief that it will not be utopian, but it will be implementable. And for that, we depend on people who have already delivered for us, stakeholders. Thank you, one and all.